Focus means that you're able to push everything aside, your Netflix when you have to at 9 p.m. You're able to put aside even your family at times to make your goal of achieving that million or that business idea the absolute priority in your life.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
How would you like to make your first millions? And today we have as a guest Dom Einhorn, which is the founder of Intelligent Games. So Dom, tell us, what are the 5 steps to make your first million?
Well, thank you for having me, Harry. Pleasure to be on the show. I'd say the first step, which most people probably recognize themselves in, is start with 0. The old joke is, what's the easiest way to make a million? Well, start with 2, and you lose, and you lose half. So that's not what we would recommend to most people because they don't have 2 to begin with. When you're starting with 0, you cannot fall any lower, right? Absolutely. You basically draw a baseline. You're also grounded because 0 is level.
It's 0.
Right? Underneath, who cares what's underneath? You're not going to fall underneath because you're on strong footing. And now you only got to wait. Now you only got to go. You only have to go up, right? Not down. I think it's important because it puts you in the here and the now. And it's impossible to imagine how to go from 0 to a million unless you know exactly where you are today. Whether that's flat 0, whether that is 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, 500,000, if you want to go to a million, right? Just don't start with 2. Okay? So that's rule number 1. Rule number 2, again, it's different for every person. So what I'm conveying right now is my own experience from actually making it happen. The rule number 2, I would say, is focus and discipline. And these 2 character qualities go hand in hand. They don't mean the same thing, but they're certainly in parallel. Focus means that you're able to push everything aside, your Netflix when you have to at 9 p.m. You're able to put aside even your family at times to make your goal of achieving that million or that business idea the absolute priority in your life. The discipline is similar yet different. The discipline is basically what helps you stay on track and what keeps you focused for a long period of time. It's very easy to be focused, for most people at least. A lot of them have ADD, myself included at times. It's very easy to get focused for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe even an hour. But to maintain that focus throughout a day, throughout a week, through a month, a year, or multiple years. We only hear about the success stories and we call them overnight stories. Well, most of my overnight stories took 10 to 20 years to build, right? Yeah. That's my overnight success story, right? Wow, Dom, you're so lucky. Well, thank you very much. Depends how you define luck, right? Yeah. Then third, being an entrepreneur and being a driven personality means that you are 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, 1 in a million. You are unique because not everybody is like that. Not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur. Not everybody has what it takes to say, I can forget about everything else. This is my goal. I'm going to dedicate my entire being to making it happen, right? Now, we're still human at the end of the day. What you do need is you need support. You don't want to be lonely, right? In my case, look, I got my wife bringing me a cup of coffee while I'm there. And it's those little things. I don't have to get up. I can keep focused. She knows that. She knows exactly how I am, right? To some people, that means nothing. To me, it means the world. I didn't have to get outside of my zone, push a button.
Take you 20 minutes to focus back again. That happened to me.
100% happens to everyone. That's just how our inefficient human minds work, right? We get sidetracked, and we're coming back to focus and discipline. All of this needs to be in lockstep. So number 4, which is very similar to number 3, right, to number 2, sorry, about focus and discipline, is to always stay on track. And this may sound like a broken record, but never give up. When you give up, you relinquish control. In order to succeed, you have to be in control at all times. So if you make the conscious decision to give up on your journey, that means you're no longer in control of your destiny. Someone else's or other circumstances around will dictate what does happen to you. I refuse to let that happen in my life. I refuse to not be the captain of my boat. I refuse to just go willy-nilly and say, okay, here are the keys. You drive, whether you're drunk or not, and I'm just sitting and waiting and see what happens. Now, if that's the life you want to live, I'm not going to interject, but I personally refuse to do so. And I think that every driven entrepreneur should refuse to do so. No one knows about your journey as well as you do, and no one will ever care about your journey as much as you do. That's a given. Don't expect other people to share your aspirations or to even care for them. They have their own lives, they have their own aspirations, or may not have any aspirations. Who cares? What matters is you. So you have to be, to a certain degree, you have to be a little bit selfish and think about you first. The same way when you're taking an airplane, for those who have taken an airplane before, when you're putting on your seatbelt and the captain comes on the air, first thing he tells you is what? Your safety first. If you're sitting with an infant, put on your mask in case of a catastrophe. You put on your mask first, and then to your children next to you. Now, some people are shocked when they hear that, but think about it. Yeah. If you cannot take care of yourself, how can you take care of your loved ones?
100%.
Right. And then last and not least, that's a little bit more out of the ordinary. It's a little bit more of like what's been my personal secret sauce to defining success and achieving success is the importance of being a specialist and not a generalist. Let's look at doctors. There's generalists, house doctors, family doctors, and there's specialists. Which ones make more money?
Yes,
specialists.
Specialists.
Right? Let's forget about the money. Which one is more qualified in his field? The specialist, right? So when you're thinking about making money, think about who are you going to be selling your product or your service to, and what are they looking for? Are they looking for a catch-all, or are they looking for someone who is extremely proficient in one extremely specific subject matter? It's the latter, and that's why they're willing to pay for it, right? If you want to have a top dog securities attorney, for those of you in stocks and bonds or whatnot, well, some of them go for $2,500 an hour, right? A general attorney goes for 10 times less.
Yeah, absolutely.
U.S. figures, right?
Yeah,
obviously varies by country. So those would be my 5, go-to strategies, go-to mental frame-up in order to make it happen.
Well, Dom, that's amazing. And I think that it reminds me, I love your first step because it's so true. And it's so helpful. I remember when I started my first property company. We managed to sell over 5 million, and we were renting properties, fixing them out, and rent the rooms individually. And I remember I didn't have the money to rent the first property, so I went to the bank, and I was making £5.95, I think, pounds per hour there in London because I was a waiter back then. And I was thinking, so the bank only can lend me 3K because I was not making more money than that. So that was enough to rent the first property. And I remember in my way back, someone asked me for money, like, the beggar, like, can you give me some money? And I was thinking, I saw the guy, and I was thinking, I say, I'm worse than this guy because this guy at least has 0. I have minus. I own 3K to the bank that if this business doesn't work, I was calculating. And I'm like, man, for pay back this 3K at the rate of 595, what I was making in London would take me maybe 10 years to pay that. But it was the best thing, because when you have zero, you have to be very careful with your money, because if it's gone, it's gone.
And important,
you have to be very, very, and that comes to your second step, the other step that you share a lot, that was about focus and discipline. My focus was survival. I had to be focused. It was that step number one that you said, that zero, that it was no way back. I had to make it work. I had to be focused. I was focused. I have attention disorder. Yeah, I'm a visual person, so I get distracted very easy. But I remember those years were the years that more focused I was in my life, because
no choice.
But I started like that. I started with zero, no, with minus 3K. So I think it's really powerful. And let me ask you a question, Dom, about some companies or tech entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs in general out there, that they want to develop the product and then they have a job in the side, and now they start to bootstrap and to spend out the money from the family, from friends, and developing the product that they think that the market want to buy. And obviously, after they spend all these resources, they patent this amazing product. And after they sold the house, they sold the parents' house, and they ask all their friends as much money they can, they create this amazing product, patented, bulletproof, that then they take it to market, nobody wants to buy. What advice do you have for those entrepreneurs?
So the advice is to exactly not do what you just described. And what I mean by that, let me be a lot more specific than that, because it's something that I see with a lot of my clients doing, of putting a lot of effort, a lot of money into developing a product or service, and then realizing, oh, there is no product market fit. Nobody wants to buy it, right? If you have
a lot, very common.
Happens all the time. It's human nature to do that. So what you do in order to avoid that trap, because it is a trap,
absolutely,
is you start with your concept. You conceptualize prior to expending a lot of money. Let's say you have a product. You start with a drawing, the basic functionality, which is only cost you your time. Mm-hmm. And then you're going to go see your most likely target candidate who would buy that, a potential client. And you get feedback. Assuming you tell them this, assuming I can deliver this product, and it has these functionalities and they work. Number one, what would you be willing to buy it? And number two, what pain point does it solve and how much is that worth to you? Which is going to give you your market price. Absolutely. Right? So again, you do this before you go way down the road of investing incredible resources into developing a product or service, because 9 times out of 10, when you do that, you turn around, it's like, oh my God, just wasted all this time, all this effort, all this money, and I don't have a market.
100%. Yeah.
So another important thing for those entrepreneurs who are in the service business, so no products, which includes myself. I have clients that sell products. I'm not a product guy. I use them, but it's not my business. In the service business, you can actually go one important step further. And that important step is obviously you want to scale, right? So rather than scaling before you have product market fit, find out what the lowest common denominator of your service is. One individual application, right? So I'll give you a very concrete example, because that's what we do today. So Intelligent Games runs a quiz platform. That quiz platform I had started in 2005, put it on hold because I was sidetracked by other projects, and I basically reinvented it about 1.5 years ago. Today, it's got close to 250,000 downloads, a lot of activity, a lot of players. But instead of just going in head first and just building out this platform,
follow us for more interviews with the world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.